Hi everyone, welcome to another Peterb Chrono ticket and Idle Miner Tycoon roundup. Just going to be talking about a few things that have happened over the last couple of weeks while talking you through some of the things I'm doing on my Chrono run. Okay, so firstly, as I always do, run some Instacash to start off with, just give it a little bit of a head start, and I've just popped Steiner in there to max off shaft 1, open down 5 mine shafts, and then I'm just going to place Lavernia and a few income factor managers. Then because we've got Flame in the elevator this week, I chose Iggy just for a real quick boost. Got Maple in the warehouse for income factor. I've got here 50p. Obviously speed's a really important factor when you're playing Chrono Mine. You only get 10 minutes per ticket, so it's important to do things as quickly as possible. That's why it's so important to plan out what managers you're going to use, especially for the first ticket or two, I think. That's why I quite like Iggy at the moment. I've used him the last few tickets, I think, as part of my opener. I think he only takes a few seconds really to run, and it gets quite a few shafts open for you to then place some income factor and mineshaft unlock cost reduction managers. I'm going to follow this up with Ezio next. As you'll see, once I place my managers in those shafts, I'll run my next manager. It will allow me to dig down, open a few more shafts, place a few more managers, all part of the opening process. So while that's playing out, it'd be a good opportunity to talk about the 10-year anniversary that I'm sure you're all aware has been going on for Idle Miner Tycoon. 10 years ago, the game was started, and although obviously it got the same basic mechanics, moving resources from the mine shaft, right, elevator and warehouse, as what you had 10 years ago, the game's totally changed, hasn't it? Rather than being an idle game that you might set up and then come back the next day to collect your cash. Obviously you make the most progress by actively using super managers regularly, and of course learning which managers will combine with others to create a higher level of income. We've also seen such an explosion really of events, I'd say, where the game used to be just about progressing through the continents and mainland. After that was added, they of course added the weekly event mines. I think the first mine was the cheese mine apparently. And they added the Impossible Island, which of course these days is a lot more accessible than it was when it was first released. When it first came out, you couldn't do shaft handoffs like Sue Turner that are obviously such a staple of combinations today. I started in 2019. I remember the first time I tried an Impossible Mine, it was a real grind. I didn't manage to get 3 medals, as I only had a few basic managers. I remember using some 50 boosts, but still didn't manage it. But obviously these days it's a lot easier to beat those mines. Then in 2023 they brought out Frontier Mine, which is a fantastic addition to the game, a real source of rewards. Initially there were 5 mines, then they added another 2, and we're really excited to hear that they're developing more Frontier Mines to be released soon. Then they added elemental modes, and then the following year Chrono Mine, which also introduced our time limited challenge that it's such a challenge for people. Again, they're promising more shafts to the Chrono Mines, so that'll be really something to look forward to. Other developments have been the Tesseract Mine, which had mixed reaction initially but seems to have become a real staple. Coming out once a month, which is brilliant. And then obviously Everdeep, which came out in December last year, which seems to have been really well received across players, satisfying that kind of end game content, giving people something to really grind for. And of course, as time goes on, I'm sure they'll release further biomes to test everybody. So if I just come back to my Chrono run for the moment, you'll notice that I've done a run with Maple, just to push the warehouse a bit, get some more shafts open, place some more managers, just making sure I get everyone super effective, or at least partially effective, where possible. And then I'll be setting up soon for just another warehouse push, so I decided to try Yasuki as well, just to get that warehouse a little bit higher so I can open just a few more shafts. Obviously I've got my warehouse support managers placed, so I've got Dai, I've got Spore, and I've got Sam running as well. It's worth just to mention the latest legendary manager to be released, so Meridia, an elevator manager who will create a copy of all the resources in the shaft, move them to the top of the elevator so that they can be used ideally by Bell or Drethos, obviously boosted by Axe if possible, or if you don't have those managers, you could use any warehouse manager with a multiplier, so the likes of Luxario, Drake, Whisker, those kind of managers. So really she fulfills a similar function to Ivor. Really she can be used in addition to Ivor. I don't think she should be seen as a replacement, because she'll use a copy without using up the resources. So you can, if you're in something like Chrono, you can run Meridia first and then Ivor afterwards to create further resources at the top of the elevator. Obviously you can use Ivor with Chance and Harumi, but as always elements will really come into a play as to who's super effective, partially effective, not very effective, so it's always worth just assessing which is going to be your best combination if you've got that variety of managers. Okay, now you can see I've started my Selena run next. This is the next stage after I've opened all my shafts, placed all my income factor and cost reduction managers, and again this is the part that I've found it's really important to try and plan for. I've tended to write out a list of which managers can be used effectively with Selena. Obviously, even though I know which managers they are, in the heat of the Chrono moment, it's easy to have a brain freeze and forget about someone who's going to be really useful. So my best managers, I think, are Goodman Jr. in a Frost Shaft. I've got Glimmer, who was really good in Nature, Light or Sand. I've got Asterion in a higher shaft, and then I'll use a legendary cost reduction manager in the bottom shaft. That's another really strong combination. If you have Nawi, she's super helpful for boosting shaft. Obviously there's a little bit of randomness as to which shaft she's affecting. She'll jump between the 3 highest shafts, changing every 30 seconds, so it's a little bit luck of the draw as to whether she'll land on your shaft, but when she does you really notice a difference. And I'd just like to mention the Discord server. It's got a new wiki page that the moderators have worked really hard on. That's Gerino and Jiggle, and there's all kinds of useful information there. You've got tables of statistics, you've got beginner guides, you've got some more advanced guides, you've got lists of manager combinations. So if you've never had the opportunity to check out the Discord server, then I really recommend it. I think people are often surprised at how complex this game can get. It's moved so far from its initial basic upgrading different areas and playing idly. It's such a complex, fast-paced game at times, as hopefully you can see from watching the Chrono ticket. So many things to remember, so many ways to optimise your squad. Obviously you're developing all the time, ranking up, levelling up managers. It's been said 1,000 times, this game's a marathon and not a sprint. So yeah, as my ticket finishes off, just like to really say a big thank you to everyone at Calibri for developing such a fantastic game. Brought so much joy to people over the last 10 years, so here's to many more. Good luck with your tickets everyone, and happy mining!